Hey guys, Bix Weir. This is part B of the Jenny Moonstone Future of the Road to Roota, the reading I had with Jenny. Make sure you watch part one first. Amazing stuff. It's already helped me find some secret spots in the Grand Canyon that would have taken me 10 years of research to find. I mean, that's how good she is. Yes, and you too can schedule an interview with her. Go to jennymoonstone.com to schedule an interview. And again, they're cheap. I'm going to scream at her to raise her prices. So get over there, jennymoonstone.com, if you're interested in reading. And here is part two. We start off with Trump and Q, which just happens to be one of her favorite topics. But she tries to divorce herself from caring about the outcome of the reading type of thing. It's hard to do. But she does a pretty good job. So here's her take on Trump and Q and the good guys, what's happening.
So let's see what we have. Actually, let's go down your list. Let's see what else you got.
All right, number one, I check mark. Okay, these are all just random. So the next one's Trump and Q. Does Trump/Q go public with all the information within the next, say, year or so?
Okay, so the again, the way we pose the question, that is so important because tarot gives no fucks and will be so literal. And it's like, well, you said, so we have to be very careful. So will Trump and Q go public with all the information?
Maybe I should be more.
No, it's okay. No, I know what it is that you want to know. It's just, and especially since I have an extreme bias in this situation.
I know.
I mean,
Me
talk
too.
about, yeah. I mean, to talk about, an attachment to the outcome. So I have to knock on this completely clear reflection of the truth, remove any biases, attachments, or objective, all that stuff. Just show us the truth, will ya? Give us a break. Is it objective or subjective, the word I'm looking for?
I wouldn't know the difference between the two.
Okay. I like that. Let's see. Ace of Wands. Yes. So this is an overwhelming yes card. Wands with the principle of fire. They're the most active of the suits. It's also about the beginning. And this is also like the introduction of absolute chaos. Like this is a war card just as much it is a card for like lust or revenge or desire or anger. This is a highly emotionally charged, like someone dropping a match in like just a butane soaked situation. So that's actually, but I like this. I do like this. Let's see here. What it does is it creates a huge contrast where what we don't want to see as a reflection of this is any kind of stagnation or a dragging out, anything that's going to get dragged out. We don't want to see any earth cards. We want wands and we want swords. That's what we want. This is rapid. Let's see. What is the fallout? What will the fallout be? Because I'm taking this as a yes. Okay, taking that as a yes. What will the fallout, the resulting fallout of the exposure be for the collective? You would think I'd do these reads more, but I actually don't. Because I don't want bad news. So it's like same reason I don't. Sometimes I don't want to know. It's like, can we just let it play out? Fallout. Ooh, the star. Okay. So this is actually my galactic connection card. And this is also galactic interferences, which is super interesting. You want to know something else? The Economist. I think it was The Economist magazine.
88. 88.
Was it 88? It came out?
Phoenix with the currency burning.
No, I didn't know that.
Okay.
I didn't know that. I was making a reference to the 2017, it was either 2016 or 2017 cover of The Economist, and they featured Trump, the tarot cards. And the last card was the star.
I wrote a book about it.
What?
I did, yeah. Well, that book is like 60 pages. I'll send you a copy.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. So, do you realize that this was the only card, one of two, that was tilted?
Yes.
Do you know what that, because this is the variable. This is the variable. This is the fulcrum point. This is where the tables turn. This is where things change, the star. It's Aquarius energy. It's sketchy. It's unpredictable, but it always speaks to some kind of miracle, something unexpected. In the past, I thought that this was either whichever faction's attempt at like an alien invasion type of scenario, or, you know, and that could be extreme. Like the cabal could make that really ugly and scary and messy, or our side, it could be our more gentle means of disclosure. Either way, I think it depends who you are and from which angle you're looking at this from. But please tell me, like, how the fuck that happened.
Oh my, I'm just blown away just right now. So I had to learn, because I did a couple analysis of the Economist magazine covers because there's so much there. I had to learn about tarot to write this thing about the cover. And I was like, oh my God, I got to send
this isn't weird. Tell me this isn't weird, though.
Oh, wait till
it would come up.
Card. I mean, the other cards on there, there's the Grand Canyon right in there and gold all over the place. And I'm like, holy crap.
What? I didn't. Oh my God. You're like, I'll send you a copy. Just look into it. Look into it. That's insane. That's just so crazy. This is overwhelmingly good. All right. Because the question, you know, the Ace of Wands, the star. I mean, all right, let's get some clarifiers here. Let's get some clarifiers. So is Trump? So you trust Trump like I do, huh?
Oh yeah. Although I'm mad at him for continuing to rig the markets, but I understand why he needs to do it.
Do you understand why though? Could you take a moment to explain to me?
Well, yeah. I mean, our financial markets are a complete fraud and are held up only by the market rigging. Like Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, is the head computer expert from Goldman Sachs, and all they did was rig the markets. So in order for Trump to get all the things he's doing done behind the scenes, he had to rig the market to keep the system going, to keep everything at least functioning, because as soon as you stop rigging the markets, everything falls apart and pure chaos, which is kind of what the bad guys want, I think.
Right. Yes.
So he continues to rig the market, but at the same time dealing with the shit, all the stuff he has to do with behind the scenes. So you believe
it that he is taking down the pedophile rings and all that shit. I knew it. Because people have been telling me for years. They say, Jenny, you're a mother. You're emotional. You're just they got you on your trigger point because you want to help the kids. And I'm like, listen, I fucking know what we're dealing with here. And I know what I look at when I see Donald Trump. He's not perfect. I said, I look at him, I don't see one of me. I see one of them. He's elite. He's not like us. I mean, maybe more so than any of the other ones, but I'm like, he is one of their people. But I look at him and I don't see somebody that abuses kids. I don't see somebody that would be okay with it either. So to me, that I will die on this hill. Okay. I will die on that hill.
That is the correct hill. I mean, he's the bull in the china shop. Everything's getting done behind the scenes, and he's the only one. Hello, he's the only one who could have done it. I mean, that's the hardest job in the world, taking down the criminal faction that runs our country. And I mean, it's a war on the economic front. It's a war on the health front. It's a war on the spiritual front. It's a war on every front. And for him to even take on this challenge is beyond me. How he decided to do this, knowing what kind of shitstorm he'll be walking into.
Oh my God. I completely agree with you. Bix, I'm going to ask you, at some point, would you be a guest on my channel?
Absolutely.
Yay. That would be great. That would be so fun. So, okay. So, I mean, I don't know how much more obvious, like how much more of a resounding yes that
That's yes.
this could be in regards to that.
Awesome.
And I also, I will say, I do feel guided, like just for that particular question and for you, I think it may actually serve us to not attempt to work out the fine details about like the how at this point. I still feel, and I feel for you particularly, like you specifically, you're going to be given like this task of relaying, sort of translating data and sort of expressing it. Like it's like your very own avenue, your very own, you have a viewfinder for the whole world. And a lot of people are looking, and more people are going to continue to look, because as this continues to come out, nothing, what do they say? What do we say? Nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. Mm-hmm. Nothing can stop it. They've tried everything. I mean, and it's probably going to get way uglier before it stabilizes. Very concerning, right? That's so scary.
On one level, yes. On another level, I see. I chose to be here at this time to experience what we're experiencing, and the amount of soul growth that can go on while we're here. I mean, if we came down to earth and everything was just fine, and you kick your feet up and have a martini, and nothing stressed you out, what kind of evolution can you actually go through? What kind of great experiences can you experience unless something is thrown in your way, a roadblock or whatever, and you figure out a way around it? And I see when we get through this, it'll be one of the greatest experiences any soul could have over the past 1,000 years.
I agree. I tend to think that what we're living through now is going to be analyzed, spoken about, studied, broken down in great detail for however long the human race continues. What we're living through right now will be the subject of so much to come. Yeah. And it's an honor,
cool.
Isn't it?
It's cool to be here now.
Oh my God, I feel like we've waited a long time. We've been through a lot to get here. So
yes. The amazing thing is, Jenny's 31 years old. How does she gain wisdom, this much wisdom, at 31? I don't know. I know what I was doing at 31. And I was in the banking world, and it wasn't thinking about the problems of the soul and the battles going on behind the scenes. Although they were happening then. You got to remember, this has been happening for millennia, forever, since the beginning of time. The battle between good and evil. And we are going to win. We are on the right side. And I like to think back and think about myself when I pass on and look back at my life, and what will I be most proud of? It's fighting the good fights. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. And I get into it again with her. But we get in a little deeper into walk-in souls and timelines and changes and the coming flash, she calls it, which is really interesting. Let's get over there to, let's see, at 740. All right, here we go. Jenny Moonstone.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes.
About walk-ins. Do you feel like you have a walk-in? Do you feel like something knocks? No? Okay.
The reason I was asking is there are certain people I've written 4 books, Conversations with God type books.
How do you write a book? I could write books, but I can't sit down and write a book. You feel me?
It took me like 2 weeks for each one. Well, they're done. They're done. Did you ever read Conversations with God?
My father. I've never read them, but they were on. I've seen them everywhere.
It's a good book, but it's a way to interact with spirit. So I did it about gold and silver. I wrote Conversations with God about gold and silver, and I was just writing in my blog, just like an article, and everybody's going, "Holy shit! That just is such a clear answer to the questions that the clarity was unbelievable." So I said, "Okay, I'll write a book." But some of the people, the only thing I've really gotten wrong is some of the people I said that were helping in the cause to take down the bad guys. This is long before Q.
Right.
Really have flipped 360, especially
Yes.
in politics. And I'm like,
Right.
and they don't even look the same. And that's
Right.
where the question came from about, the swapping of souls and things like that.
Right. Well, I tend to believe that during the chronological, the linear timeline, in the I want to say the late 70s, early 80s, I believe that certain projects were projected, so time travel projects. I think certain things were done that made what you're describing, this kind of unforeseeable. So lots of psychics and prophets and visionaries, like a lot of people saw a certain thing happening, and then something else fucking happened, and it felt like what just happened? That nobody saw that coming. They didn't see it coming. We didn't see it coming. And I believe that's because there was a very specialized group. I happen to believe they're a military and ET alliance. And they fucking pulled some shit at the last second. Like to
change the timeline?
Yes.
Change the occurrence of something in a timeline?
Yeah, I think that they did. And I think that we had divine intervention to allow us to pull off something that I feel in the near future, we're going to be looking around, and I say this all the time, we're going to be like, that was a fucking close one. And it like that was way too close. We got it, but that was close. And when I say we were close to losing it all forever. All of it gone. I don't think we're dealing with when people think of the cabal, they think, oh, they're just, cannibals, child traffickers. Like, that's dark. It's as dark as it gets for the human psyche, but there's more. Mm-hmm. Even in a dualistic universe, the polarities, we have dark and we have light. Our real enemy, it's not darkness. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's the anti anything. So even in an instance like this, where, everybody's being rallied to the front lines here, I think even the dark side will rally together with us, because what we're facing is the great nothing. Mm-hmm. Does that resonate? This isn't just about the darkness. I think this is about that which wants to swallow up existence forever.
Yeah. I understand the dark and the light and the yin and the yang, and because we wouldn't even understand what good is without bad.
Right.
And then there's I'd read somewhere about that you can take a soul after they die and reconstitute. If like a real bad thing's happening, you could take that soul and reconstitute it into the nothingness and have it just go back into source and just get fully absorbed and never have any further existence, type of thing.
Right.
That's like the ultimate punishment.
Right.
For a soul that really fucks up.
Right. Exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
And I tend to believe that that's what we're dealing with a little bit. It's just that whatever is coming for them, they want it to come for all of us. And so I think that they're trying to drag as many, sort of tow as many souls into their apocalypse. Mm-hmm. Because what do? They're done. They've lost. They just want to make sure that everybody's like, if they can't be happy, if they can't win, nobody gets to win.
That's why I think we're being protected, as far as, they're not going to be able to set off nukes. They're not going to lob a few asteroids to planet Earth, at least big enough to destroy us. And I think we're being protected on that front, spiritually and ET wise.
And I will say too, I feel that there's a flash coming. I don't know exactly what words to use to describe it. I've seen it, I've felt it, I've dreamt of it for many, many years. And I actually saw a really interesting thing on the decalcification effects of HCQ, and how if everybody was sort of primed, if the pineal gland, if people could see in preparation for this flash, this could essentially be the Great Awakening. And I don't know, do you have Do you know what I'm talking about when I refer to this flash?
Well, to me, because I've done a lot of work in the Grand Canyon, how it was formed. It wasn't formed by a lazy river wandering through the desert. It was formed by it was a flash. It
It was
was.
war, wasn't it? War.
I don't think it was war because it was. We did some remote viewing work on it. Dick Allgaier and the remote viewing guys, and what they saw was it was an energy that was sent to Earth that split the Grand Canyon, but it was like an intelligent energy,
Yes.
and it was and there's just so much in the Grand Canyon of different species that have lived there. Different, I mean, it's like everything. There's so much I really want to open up for mankind, but that the flash. Cliff High explained it as a electrical discharge between the sun and Mars and the Earth.
Right.
And there's a similar canyon on Mars that was
Okay.
formed in the same electrical discharge. And he explains it scientifically how that would work. But something like that obviously would, disrupt humanity pretty damn good.
Right.
But I don't know. And when you see this flash, do you think it's a sun event? Do you think it's a spiritual event? Do you think it's
So
a war?
I think so no, it's not war. This particular, I mean, it could be argued that it is a kind of Moab event, mother of all bombs, in the sense that this does definitively change the battlefield. And it may have violent consequences, violent effects based on who you are. And I think that that's what all of this comes down to, is the lens through which an individual is perceiving what's going on at this time. And what does that have to, that has everything to do with how evolved you are, how clear you are, how good or bad, how, through what you've been able to accomplish. And that's that's really a lot about personal responsibility, isn't it? You can't make excuses for why we are the way we are. That's why this whole game has been a game of consent, information and consent. And they've been telling us the whole time, so they've actually been following the rules. They've just managed to work around them because,
That's what they do.
That's what they do. That's what they do. They're the best at it. But this flash to me is it's spiritual. Yes, it is connected to the sun. When I get it, it's more of a two-way. So it comes from the top as much as the bottom. So it comes from up, like the inside, just as much as it comes, but it comes in all directions. It's not just down, up. It's like, it's just this all-encompassing thing. And it feels to me as if, so let's use the example of somebody like yourself or somebody like me. We are open-minded. We have a decent enough awareness of what we need to. We are where we are supposed to be. I think that is all that's required, is that you're consciously doing what you know to be right. People that are knowingly doing the wrong thing, they'll probably find themselves at the wrong place at the wrong time when this does happen, and they will experience the gamut of negative fallout from it. I don't know exactly how, but when I see it, depending on who you are, where you are, what's going on, it's literally a cellular activation. And it's almost as if all at once we see behind the veil. We know who we've been. We know what we are. We know what's been hidden because it's all there. It's almost like, and I've never seen They Live, but it's like everybody gets your glasses. And it literally affects like the flesh, the bones, the sinew, the tissue, everything changes. And I think that we just all receive these upgrades. People who don't want the upgrade, it could kill them. It could rip them apart. They could experience mass psychosis. Who's to say? Here's the thing. The amount of weird apocalyptic shit that has happened time and time again on this planet, supernatural, paranormal shit that we'd never hear about otherwise, it's happened constantly. People think this sort of thing doesn't happen. It does. It happens all the time.
With video cameras on your phone now, everybody's we're starting to record this shit. And
Yeah.
all right, that's pretty deep shit. The Flash. Yeah, some people I think would call that ascension. In biblical terms, it's in the end days. I don't know, but we get to live through it apparently, and I definitely feel like something's coming. All right, we went on, talked about some more stuff, and I wanted to get to her take on how does COVID end? How does this whole thing end? Does it drag on for decades, or what's the deal? Which is really important to pretty much everybody out there right now. So let me play that for you. Let's see. And by the way, yes, I will be working with Jenny a lot more. I have so many questions to ask her about some of the things I'm researching as far as silver conspiracy stuff, Grand Canyon conspiracy stuff, and she seems to be tapped into something really cool. So, all right, here we are talking about COVID.
When does this end? Let's see. How does the COVID end? I feel like there's an overwhelming majority of people that are done with it. Really. I mean, you have your few people, but who are those people?
They're
really
lefty manipulators, and they didn't have a life to start with, probably.
Right, exactly. So they're like, this is awesome. Yes, perfect. Oh, I love it. So how does the COVID end? Look who we have.
There we go. There it is again.
There she is. There she is. Listen, this circles us back to your question about Trump and Q. With the revelation, we're going to see it's going to be it's like they're going to tell us the truth about the trafficking rings, 9/11, and COVID is going to be on that list. Mm-hmm. So it's like the truth will come out. Knight of Pentacles. I feel like this is probably, if this isn't Trump himself, this isn't Trump. Trump would never be a knight. He's always a king. I feel like this is a collective push of the working class. Okay, these are people that are ready to get back to where it's a formidable amount of people. Like a lot of people in this country are just ready. And I think that they're just a heavier weight than everybody else. And then we have the world, which is like completion. We're done. We're done with this. That's a wrap. But the star card was the biggest thing. And it's like this unexpected, it's going to hit people like a ton of shit. They're going to be like, oh my God. Like some people are going to know, like you and I are going to be like,
I told you so.
Exactly. And some people they would rather check themselves into asylums rather than admit that they've been duped.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of those around here, but hey, all people, we just need to know the right information. If the truth comes out, when the truth comes out. I heard that Trump has control of CNN now. Could you
imagine?
Yeah, exactly. But that's the kind of thing he would need to do right at the end, is all of a sudden have a media outlet that the far left loves and believes everything they say, and then to implement some real truth into there. And then, I mean, that's a brilliant move.
Oh my God.
Or again.
Right. Exactly. Oh my God. He's a stable genius. A stable genius. Oh, yeah. I love him so much. He's a good time.
Yes.
So was that all of your questions?
That was wonderful. It was a blast. You were so damn good at this, let me tell you.
Oh, thank you.
I can't tell you how many things you really nailed, and it gave me there's more belief in knowing that that's my path, and that's what I'm doing what I'm meant to do. All right. And then I was closing up. And then we'd already gone way over. We were just going to do an hour. We've already gone an hour and 20. And then I'm like, shit, I forgot to ask about Greenspan. So I go, and this was really good because she knows nothing about Greenspan or Satoshi or my theory on that. So it's really interesting. Let me play that for you right here.
We're spending money on recreation anyways, so that's interesting. Alan Greenspan, he's a money guy, right?
He's the guy. who, well, I've done the road to Roota is what he is. He worked for he was the head of the Federal Reserve, but before that, he was the biggest gold bug in the world. Before that, he was a disciple of Ayn Rand, who's, objectivism and all that stuff. And I've done so much work on him, but he's a computer expert. He invented our money system that we have today in the 1960s. And he left. They put him as head of the Fed. He basically invented all the market rigging applications. And then he left the Fed, and he basically, I think he was the guy, he was in charge of the money system for the world as head of the Federal Reserve. And he was the best computer programmer in the world at the time, but nobody knew he was a computer programmer. So then he left the Fed, and 2 years later, the Satoshi white paper comes out, which is the invention of Bitcoin. And Satoshi had said, yeah, I've been working on this for 2 years. And he's really the only guy in the world who could never raise his hand and say, yes, I'm Satoshi. Because he was the head of the anti-Satoshi, which is the Federal Reserve dollar system.
So
could the fool be he was hiding from, it's hidden from everybody?
So no. So the fool is not actually about hidden things. But what this makes me feel like, because the Eight of Cups is leaving, walking away, retiring. Sometimes it's the end of some kind of a system, the end of a chapter. Uh-huh. But the Fool is the beginning, the risk, the new shit. Okay, the young gun. You know what I mean? That who inherits something. So now that I hear you talk more about it,
I have another question.
Yeah, of course. Let's hit it. Let's do it.
Okay, was Alan Greenspan involved before Satoshi came in inventing Bitcoin?
Two of Pentacles, two people. This is sometimes on again, off again. I think that if there were interactions, so this is, to me, is a yes. To me, this is a yes. Okay. It was all kept highly under wraps. On again, off again. I feel like communications weren't even like consistent. Like it was like, so did you say 2 years?
He had left the Fed. See, I think it's like a group of 3 or 4 people, but Satoshi, the actual guy, the name Satoshi. See, my gut says I want it to happen, but I don't believe it.
Well, here's the thing. So we have the Emperor and the Ten of Cups. So this is the Fed. Like the Emperor is literally, as an archetype, this is the government, the bank, the authority in the world. What makes the world? What runs the world? Money, government, that stuff. And the Ten of Cups, interestingly enough, is this is about the group. This is about, believe it or not, this is a harmonious energy. I think an agreement may have been come to. And then this is a period of suspension, sometimes transition, all right, where all of this, it's like we threw everything up.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually feel like the Fool does work like in alignment with your theory. At first, I didn't think so. At first, I was like, no, but I'm really glad that you described it. You explained it a little bit more, because now I have a totally different vibe. And to me, this feels like Daddy may have recruited someone or took interest, or there was a plan to already change things around. Maybe they had to kind of make it look like it was accidental, or make it look like it was something that it wasn't, for the sake of bukkake theater, or kabuki theater, rather.
It sneaks out of your mouth all the time.
I can't help it. It's just one of those things.
It's a good one.
It's funny because that's not even my thing. Like I'm not.
I hope not.
No, I don't like to watch it. It's not, it's not particularly sexy to me. It's just a funny word, and at this point, it's just an ongoing joke.
It comes out.
Because I actually love the term kabuki theater for what's going on.
Right.
Like it totally. We think that what we're seeing is how it is, and it's like this is a show.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
all a show. They're acting.
Well, it's
And
amazing that you pulled that card, the one with, the head, the king, or whatever. I mean, Alan Greenspan was the head of the Federal Reserve System, which runs all the banks in the world.
right.
And then you pull that card.
Yeah.
That stuff's crazy.
I mean, it is, it's a reflection of the truth. It doesn't care, to tell you that you were right or wrong. It's just showing us like what is at hand here. I think that I actually get the sense that these two, so they're not actually, are they're two separate people, or it was just a name change, like identity change.
Ooh.
Because this is like a sleight of hand to me, the Two of Pentacles. So there's more than one person involved. It's like the wheels on this are spinning, but it's like now you see me, now you don't. Kind of, there's an illusion here. There's sleight of hand taking place.
So I am going to further discuss this with Jenny. And I don't think she knew who Satoshi was or Greenspan. I mean, a little bit, but clearly not what my theory was. So we can definitely dig further into this, and we will. And we're making plans to do that right now. So that's everything except one. I wanted to add one more thing. My favorite part of the reading, because it talks about when I become happy. I'm happy now, but the real thing I wanted, I mean, we had this big tour planned for this summer and RVs chasing each other around, talking about freedom and cryptos and all this stuff. So I'm going to play you this part of this reading that ended on a high note, right? At least for me. So here we go.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question for you on that vein, because I have felt for 20 years now that I need to get a 4-wheel drive RV,
Mm.
and literally, I mean that, and I've been holding off. I don't know why I keep holding off, but it's more and more that urge to get. I mean, obviously, I love being on the road. I love traveling around, and I write music and sing at these little events, and I just love it. And but I have this thing. It just says, get a 4-wheel drive RV. You're gonna need it.
I love the idea. I really do. I'm dating a guy that's thinking about selling his RV, and I'm like, no, keep that RV. Keep the RV, because, I mean, who's to say flying is not,
Done, yeah.
so, and my instinct is like, absolutely get it. Let's see what the cards say. Just as well as I do, you have to heed, the world. So this is your travel. This is the card of travel. Honestly, the RV is kind of like the last big purchase you probably have to make before the end of the world.
That's true. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. So I'm going to get a good one.
Yeah. You're going to want to get one that lasts you. And here's the thing. So like, because this is the final card in the major arcana, this really does solidify any sort of security issues. This is a card of the fortress, the boundary, what you have, what you've built, what keeps you and your family safe. This is also about protecting your assets. This is literally like the moat around your castle, okay? Mm-hmm. And so I think that just from a very security, from a mundane standpoint, it's just a wise purchase. I think it's just a good investment. And I don't know much about good investments, but I can tell you that.
That's a good one. You do. There you go. I love that. It's the last big investment. And it probably will be, truthfully. Because I keep thinking, I get a used RV now, but I want to get like the top of the line. It was always my goal after cryptos and silver and everything to get like the best RV I could get. So she nailed it. This is the last big thing you're going to buy. But I think that's coming. I think it's coming in maybe not this year. next year, next summer, I think we're going to plan. The boys are going to be out there digging in the desert, and we're going to get Bitcoin Ben and the crew out with RVs and continue on our path, traveling around, talking and singing and meeting people. And COVID will be gone, and happy days are here again. So, hey, I want to thank Jenny for doing this. Amazing. You're going to see a lot more Jenny on the private road. And if you guys want a reading from Jenny, go to her website, Jenny Moonstone, click on schedule a reading, and schedule a reading from her while she has the time, because I think she's going to be very, very, very much in demand the more she gets out there. And I know JC's doing interviews with her and stuff, and amazing stuff. So there you go, my friends. That's part two. That's part B of part three of this future Road to Roota Future stuff. And I think part four is going to be my overall take on timing for silver, for cryptos over the next year, year and a half. I do have some trigger points that we're going to reach, and I think the chaos will hit, and I'm going to try to describe that chaos in the next video. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you later.